What's happening? Good to see you today. Today, I am going to go over three things with the GPT Store. Effectively, how do you use it? How do you find the best GPTs? And then we're going to actually walk through some of them, and you're going to see how to actually search through them in batch, as long as getting the best one. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to walk through this super quick, if you will. I think you're going to like this. There's some really good things. The number one thing that I wanted to talk about with this specifically is like when you use it, right? And so what I would say is there's some good applications in here, but they're very, very like small in scope, and you can't do it across a wide range of tasks. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Effectively, what you could do is if you look in here and you have the tab bar, you click on, I should say, explore GPTs like you have right here. And then this pops up. Okay. So what it is effectively a search bar. Now it's categorized by the different areas, as you see, by Dolly, writing, productivity, research analysis, programming, education, and lifestyle. OpenAI, what they do is they have trending ones in here, which typically generates a lot of usage for these GPTs. So if you create one, the goal would be in there so that you could have that really blown up for you. Now, one of the things that I noticed in here is if you look at this, there's a really cool thing that I kind of unlocked very uniquely as we went through this. Because I was looking through this, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to like go through the trending ones. I don't want to go through, the ones that are created by ChatGPT or Dolly or writing or productivity, right? So what if I wanted to search something for YouTube, right? So you just click in here. Now, the real interesting thing, and I don't remember ever seeing this before, but effectively what it does is you see this little number right here, this 5K, this 10K. What this does is this really identifies which ones are being used the most. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best. However, let's give it a try with this free YouTube summarizer, as we can see here. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to pop open a new window for you. And as you can see, it identifies who it's done by. It says that this person cannot review the chats. And then it talks about creating embeddable HTML for articles and websites. So what I did is I looked at YouTube and I pulled up this skit, which is Big Dumb Cups from Saturday Night Live. I thought this was freaking hysterical because basically this is making fun of Stanley's, which a lot of people are obsessed with. And so what you can see is here, we just copied that, and that's from Saturday Night Live. It's just a real quick skit on that. And so now what it's going to do is it's going to summarize this for you. So this gives you an example of like a micro use case that's pretty cool and very simple to use. And so what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, could you specify which language you want this in? Yes, please summarize it in English, right? And apparently I forgot to answer the prompt that said yes to kind of start with. So now what it's doing is it wants to talk to this and look at this. Okay, let's allow it. Now, what you're going to see here is it summarizes it for you, which is pretty cool. So if you don't want to go through, if you don't know how to prompt it correctly and identify like exactly what it's about, what this will do is it'll go through it and kind of identify it. And so this is very short and simple. Now, what I also did is let's look at this, like, let's say, I don't know, let's look at this link for this ChatGPT 4 masterclass. Okay. Now let's say if I want to provide one there, let's say, okay, new chat, right? So let's follow a new chat in here and it says, can you summarize this YouTube video? Okay. Okay. Now it just says provide it, right? And I'll just put in English. All right. So now what it's going to do is it's going to summarize it. We have to allow it to do that. And so what it's going to go out now, what I've noticed for longer, more explainer videos is it gives more of a detailed breakdown. As you can see here, it walks through the different examples of what's in this video, like custom instructions, vision plugin, on top of it too, custom GPTs. So it talks about a lot of the different areas that you could do this for. Okay. So that's one example of how to leverage this. And then what it's going to ask once it's done generating this summary is like, okay, now that you have this, do you want this created for basically a website or to embed it in there? And so one of the things you can just say this, would you like to convert this into a well-structured article? Then you can say yes. All right. So then what it does, it'll do that. All right. So it'll format it in HTML, which is kind of interesting how to do it. And then it just pops it in there. Okay. So that's one example. Now, another way, and actually, let me get back to here. So besides just YouTube, there's other ways that you could do it. So let's say we wanted something for LinkedIn, right? So let's say we wanted LinkedIn. Okay, viral post formatter for LinkedIn. Now, there's not a ton on here, which kind of surprises me for LinkedIn. So let's pop this up and see what happens, right? So now, granted, these are only the public GPTs. You could also have private GPTs that other people create. So now what I could say is make my post match viral examples, or adjust my LinkedIn draft for better engagement, or align my post with top creators. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to make my post match viral examples. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. Okay, so now what it's going to do should pop up, right? Okay, so now it needs a content of the draft post. So this is an example of a post that I created. It did okay. It was a summary of a guest that I had on here. Sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong one. And so what you'll see here is effectively you go through, and as we go through and do it, I'll pop it in there. It gives them the post. It's connecting with Bing to do research on it, and it's checking it. And so then, oh, interesting. So it's not doing it. Okay, when I tried this before, it did it. So let's just copy and paste it because it's acting to do that, right? And so let's see what happened here if we do this. So let's just paste it, put it in there. And sometimes I've noticed this, that OpenAI has issues with LinkedIn, specifically, I think because they're both kind of have relationships with Microsoft. There might be something in there. And so here's an example. So it said, last week it hit me with realization, left millions on the table, and skipped several promotion opportunities. Why? I lacked one simple thing. Okay. So I thought this opener was good. This is okay. It's really interesting because this has like a listicle type format as it's structured. And then it kind of basically revamped some of the areas. So I think it did okay, not amazing. Now, if we're going back to the GPT store, the other thing that you could look up, so let's say you don't want something on social media, but you want something more, let's say like PowerPoint related. Let's say you want to create a PowerPoint slide or something like that. So what you're going to see here is it pops up. And once again, okay, PowerPoint presentation maker by Slides GPT. This is pretty impressive. This is like one of the highest usage. So let's take a look at that. That's 50,000 uses basically of this, which is pretty good for that, right? And so what I think is going to happen are more the general use cases are going to get consumed in here, because I don't think people are going to want to put the really deep proprietary information in here. Okay. So effortlessly create, edit, and view PowerPoint slides. Okay. This is make a slide about the Roman Empire, update the last slide, or revise a presentation. Why don't we make a slide about using AI for work to become superhuman? Now, what it's going to do is now it's going to create this slide for the PowerPoint. So what you're going to see is this is going to take a little bit of time. It's going to create a visual. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens, because I tested this and I had some different results. And so that's one of the things you got to remember when you're doing this or when you're using this, that sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes it's not going to be the best. And so what you're going to say here is it's wants me to allow it to let it to do this and create this action. And now what you're going to see here is with Slides GPT creates a slide that explores how AI can enhance our work capabilities, make us superhuman. All right. So now it says you can view or download. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is actually pretty interesting. And I thought this was cool. So let's take a view of this bigger and see how it looks. All right. So we got the slide right here. It's pulling up in real time. And so you're seeing this. Sometimes this takes a little bit of time to upload. Maybe this is taking a little longer than anticipated, so we may have to move on from this. Okay, let's move on for it. So anyways, here's what it looks like. Pretty good decision-making, repetitive task, creativity, and innovation. And photo by so-and-so at Unsplash. I think this is okay. And so what I wanted to do is kind of wrap this up. And before I did, there was one thing that I thought was really, really useful that I found within here. Okay, so this was the store, and we did the search in the natural bar here. Now, one of the things that I found is there's also a tool called GPT Finder. Okay, so what it does is it looks at GPTs from a selection of over 133,000. And what it does is it says, okay, show me GPTs about grammar. Show me 10 GPTs about PDF files. So I say, show me 10 GPTs about marketing. Okay. So the cool thing about this then is what it does is it'll list them in bulk format. I haven't tried this on the normal search bar, but what you're going to see is it's going to populate a big category of GPTs as you go out and as you want to use them. So what this will do is this will generate like good examples. If you're looking for something in bulk, you don't know the exact name, you don't know the exact search area, you just want to go by the category. And so, like, for example, the cool thing I like about this is it's got a description, right? So basically what it's building out is a whole list of it with a description and then a clickable area that you could jump on this, right? So it's got everything from a brand bot to a Mark Ritson bot, who I have no idea who that is. It's a copywriter GPT. You got Sean GPT, which is a copywriting and consultant, right? Ad copy, ad read, Texie. Okay, so Hormozy GPT, which I checked that one and that was not very good. I think it was something that somebody slammed together and is basically just using Hormozy's name, which is not cool in my opinion. Growth hacker, right? And so some of these are areas that you could play, experiment with, especially if you're not used to using AI that well. Oh, wow, this one's even popping up in code. So long story short, I think this will give you a good example of how to use this. Where are areas that you could leverage this, search through really quick and effectively, and then basically nail the use cases that you want. So really appreciate you checking this out. I'm going to do more videos like this to basically give you insights on how to leverage AI, ChatGPT, and other tools like that to become superhuman in work, in business, and in life. I will see you in the next video.